this meeting to discuss potential litigation to the recoupment of funds owed to DCED.
That's from the housing program?
Okay, review and approve the current agenda. Any discussion? Motion?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Leonard and Ray for a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, say aye. Any presentations? Okay. Citizen correspondence, personal appeals for agenda items only. Reports of committees. Mayor Burke?
I've got nothing this week.
Engineer, Mr. Cuthbert?
Nothing.
Personnel? Legal finance? Parks?
I'm just gonna quick with Parks and Rec throw out, I don't know how many of you saw it, but we did finally manage to nail down some bands and some dates for our winter concert series. It was a little bit of an adventure trying to get that between theaters availability and borough dates and band dates and surgeries for randomly band members, but we did it. So our first concert is next Thursday, the 26th at 7 o'clock at the theater. The band is Cartoon, that's with a K, Cartoon. They were very popular at Riverfest this year, had a big following. You know, we are partnering with the Community Giving Foundation, who funded the significant portion of the cost for the band, as well as the Berwick Arts Association, and of course the Berwick Theater, putting this together. Just a nice little extra thing that we're all working to offer to our citizens of Berwick. All 3 concerts, one for each of the next 3 months, will be free. As many people as the theater can hold, and the theater's not charging us anything. They're going to have their concession stand open to help cover their costs, but anyone who is available for any or all of those are certainly welcome to come. Susan, I'll make sure we get you schedules so we can Front Street beat all of that then too.
Okay, great, thank you.
That's it.
Fire ward? Oh, sorry, I missed streets, parks, buildings, okay. Streets, parks, buildings, okay. Codes?
Yes, couple things, we just had a meeting last week. The one thing is, if everyone remembers, last year, there was a garage at 1414 Market Street in the rear. The owner paid for the engineer to do a study on it. And the engineer at that point said it needed to come down. And it's still standing. And we've sent her letters about it and she refuses to tear it down. So, 1414 Market. So she paid for the engineer. The engineer said it needed to come down over a year ago. Is there anyone that would wanna do like a emergency tear down? Or I'm just throwing out there. She doesn't have the money to tear it down herself, but someone walks through the alley, it falls on them, then whose fault is it?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we talked about the code committee started, but came out.
It's okay.
So it's certainly, I would say, justifiable for us to make the option to say we're gonna pursue the emergency tear down of it. If we wait for the owner to do it, it will probably never happen. I mean, we can find into perpetuity, but all that is money that's not being used to tear down the garage. If we were to tear it down, we would presumably put a lien against the property. You know, would we ever get that back? It's hard to say. Probably not anytime soon. But as Tom said, there is a legitimate safety concern there. You know, we do know here buildings fall down sometimes, and bad things can happen. So at some point, us knowing that it is unsafe, that not even a third-party engineer, an engineer for the other party said that it needed to come down, I mean, we can feel pretty confident that it needs to come down. So at what point do we need to say they're not doing it, so we're going to?
She's okay with that?
I don't know that she's okay with it.
Well, I
mean,
don't know, I think, like, question towards Frank too.
Well,
or how
I
to.
mean, it's clear that, you know, given the fact that we have an engineer report saying that it's dangerous, we should just go in and just proceed. You know, we can get the court order and take them down.
Yeah, you're good. We got you, I got you, bro.
And, yeah, obviously, she may be willing to say, fine, she may not. When have this conversation first, we can sort of reach out to her and say, at this point, we can either go this route or we can go to the court and get the order. And she may say, fine, and sign off on allowing us to do it when we now. But, sorry, was that?
Could you, that was a
Yeah.
lot, I was overstimulated. I
She
didn't
certainly
have-
may,
Thank you.
if asked, be willing to grant permission and skip the legal route.
Mhm.
I wouldn't hold my breath necessarily,
Okay, okay.
but she may be willing to say, I realize it's a losing battle, so, but if not, we would certainly then be able to go to court, and I don't think we would struggle to get the court order giving us the okay to move forward.
She would be made aware that there would be a place against it.
Absolutely. And I mean, with that bear, that generally would not be paid on unless and until she sold the house, so.
Okay, another one for you, Frank. We've talked about administrative search warrant for rental properties.
Yeah, I've got some research done on that. I'll definitely have a
Because
report.
there was one, certain landlord that, codes did a walkthrough of the living area, but was denied access to the basement. I don't know, and it's part of the inspection is the basement, the furnace, the panel box and all that, but the living space was passable, but we don't know about the basement. Could be wire, sewer, holes in the lines or something, but, I forget the address of it, but I know who the
1, 2,
landlord is.
3, 4, orange, is that the orange tree, or was that the free stack?
I think it was Orange or Spring Garden, one of those.
1, 2, 3, 4, sorry, the string, now the string is gonna be.
It's like, you're making things up.
No,
That's not real, that's not real address.
But looking to do an administrative search warrant, since that's part of the, codes. Check.
And I've, talked to the magistrate, so I think anytime we're ready to go. Well, you called me and we talked about getting together, so,
Yeah, I mean, I think from our end, we are as ready to go as we're going to be, and the magistrate at that point will either grant it or won't, but I mean, I think at the end of the day, the issue is going to be that in some of these houses, we've never been in them because we've never been allowed to be in them, but part of it's making the case for the ones that we have been in, we've seen the issues and.
yeah, and there's some case law that when I started to do research, just the fact that they won't let you in, is a good amount of, probable cause to get an administrative search warrant, so.
So there's that one specific landlord who is target number one, goal number one as far as getting into. And if we need to expand from there, we certainly can, but that one, we know that there are some potential pretty big problems that we want to get in and see and hopefully get corrected.
So to have a property for rent in Berwick, you have to agree to the inspections, you have to be registered, correct?
Be registered, you have your property inspected every other year.
Every other year.
Correct.
And is there some kind of agreement they sign that says that they're at will to have inspections given a certain notice?
So what it comes down to is, technically speaking, tenant has the ability to say, no, you can't come in.
Because they occupy, right?
And at that point, it should be on the tell me if I'm wrong, it should be on the landlord to say, no, actually, as part of your lease, this is the rule that I have to make them let you in, or
Assuming
can't be a
that's a part
tenant
of
of mine anymore.
That should be a part of
But
it.
I believe this specific landlord
Put something in the
weaponizes
lease
or
that you
threatening.
can't- Not to allow access.
We've seen a copy of at least one lease that said pretty much, if you let them in, anything they find is your responsibility.
Oh, okay.
We'll turn it, please.
Right.
Crappy.
It is. Our goal with this ordinance is to make sure that rentals are safe places. I mean, I don't want to be overbearing, I don't want to be trying to reinforce unnecessary things, but we want these rentals to be a baseline level of safe.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and not in all cases, but in some cases, tenants feel as though, you know, if I get kicked out of where I'm at now, I can't really find another option, I can't afford it, rents are crazy, whatever the case might be, and they're afraid to say anything that could risk their ability to be housed.
It's understandable.
So, and that's why, you know, the borough, this should be a way for the borough to be an advocate for tenants who in some cases are not able to advocate for themselves. It doesn't always work out that way, and I realize it'll never be the most popular ordinance that we have, but that's what we're trying to do, make sure that apartments are safe.
And one other thing we talked about, trailer court over here on 17th Street. Kinda looks like a junkyard with all the condemned trailers and all the debris outside. So Codes is gonna cite the owner of the trailer park, clean it up, and also, they haven't paid or registered the trailer park yet. So can we, what's the word?
So essentially.
Revoke
Yeah.
their, trailer park license, since they haven't paid last year or this year yet?
That I'm gonna have to check on. I actually just got into that, so, I can report to Damien, probably within a week.
We also, met with a representative from the state, and I'm apologizing which department he's with the state, but he specifically deals with, trailer parks. So, what's that?
Mobile
Yeah,
home
yes, I'm sorry.
communities.
Yes, mobile home communities. And he was in and, you know, he felt as though what we were trying to accomplish was very reasonable. He also, you know, empathized with the fact that it can be difficult when you have situations where, you know, there's the park owner and then there's the mobile home owner.
Right.
And that they are often not the same, and there's kind of a blur with, you know, where the mobile home ends and the park begins. And it can be difficult sometimes, and, you know, depending on which way a local magistrate might choose to go, it can be complicated to figure out who's responsible for what, and in some cases ends up that nobody's responsible. It just gets messy, so we are trying to work through all of that, and, you know, I give, you know, Codes and Nicole specifically a lot of credit. She has put a lot of effort into just researching and networking and staying on the owners, and it's a non-stop battle she's fighting there, but, yeah, I mean, mobile home parks, or communities, or whatever we would like to call them, I think parks are okay, are necessary, but similar to our rentals, we need to be able to have some minimum standards that are being met.
Well, I'm assuming those the trailers are just like any other building in Berwick, like if they're condemned for so long, they have a responsibility for, if they're dilapidated to the point where they're falling apart, it's a responsibility to remove them, right?
And that's where some of that, whose responsibility is it, the owner of the physical structure, or the owner of the land where that structure sits, is where the
So
disagreement.
over here, I mean, they've been here for forever, they're not one and the same, I mean, always, I guess. They seem like fixtures, so.
That ownership is a tricky concept when it comes to some of our mobile home parks. I definitely get where you're coming from. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm also not sure if you're right and all. It's messy.
Yeah.
It is very messy.
And that's all we have, just those three things, but see if we can work on those, Frank.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
How about by Friday?
All right, let's try it.
Police? We'll get down to the.
I passed out my monthly report. On top of that, I guess, super nicest, the HVAC works downstairs. We actually have heat.
Hey.
They came through, so it looked like one of our boilers was down. They replaced a valve on that. That's working. Jack, do you know exactly what was wrong with the air handler? You know what they ended up even doing to it?
Reprogrammed it.
It was doing nothing. We were just down there with absolutely nothing apparently. Handlers started working, they came back in, and it turns into then all of the difference in temperatures on the other side, even though it was zoned. One of the dampers was, the motor on it was fried, they fixed that. There is now heat throughout, and DPW is in as well, and yeah, did a whole bunch of work like under the doors to stop all those traps. It's night and day downstairs, like it really is. It is actually a comfortable temperature down there.
So looking into.
Next is up here, so I have that scheduled for this week, so.
Which and as soon as we, and we even said like, hey, it's a similar problem upstairs, they said the same thing immediately, like, yeah, some of those vents, stamps are probably original in the building, if they're just seized up, it may be, just, come back out, check them out.
Good news.
Okay, so fire chief got called out, pause report, business not ready for action, police hiring.
Okay, back to it. As it is right now, we currently have 7 applicants, one of which is a lateral transfer with about 3 years' experience. The 6 others are for cadet sponsorship. One of them is currently in the academy and would be graduating here within the next 2 months. Our trips to the Hazleton and Scranton academies actually went very well. That one cadet, like within 2 days after visiting Hazleton's academy, immediately applied. Just before coming up, we had 2 more that had come in from that academy that were interested in applying to come do ride-alongs as well. And there's a couple other have expressed interest that are currently in the academy. So the overall plan at this point would be, we just made it to Scranton's Academy on this last Thursday, so kind of let that one ride for like another week or so, then reach out to both academies and let them know that we'll be closing out the process in about 2 weeks to run the testing. If things go well and everybody were to pass and any of these individuals that have applied are actually interested in employment, we're hoping to potentially actually have a list done and available for hire in March.
So it's worth saying though that part of the pitch that Reagan and I talked about with the understanding that this needed ultimate council approval.
Which I did,
was
okay.
As we're going, as they're talking to these classes that are in the academy and partway through, had they known, come to us ahead of time, they could have potentially been in as academy cadet sponsor for us. They're not. I told Reagan, like, say, we are willing to present to council to retro academy cadet sponsorship, at least prorated back to a date of receipt of application. Again, there were no promises that it could absolutely happen, but we were talking about what we want to do to get some good folks in here, and not be starting from scratch on academy classes. We'd be getting a head start. We'd actually have a little bit of knowledge that they were competent in their academy classes before doing that. So
I'm assuming within the service agreement then, right?
there would be the agreement, all that there too, but, so there's that. And then there is also, do we want to put the other thing too?
I'm not sure, are we talking about
The one specific candidate?
Yeah, might as well. So while we're at the academy, we kind of very quickly got the vibe of, oh, hey, this, one of the cadets is, the top of the class, currently under contract with another agency. They don't really want to go to that other agency. They would rather be here. So that's the type of thing. Again, no promises were made, but part of that conversation was within reason, depending on what that other contract looked like, would be willing to buy them out. By the little bit of research so far, is it looks like that other agency did the same thing that we did, paid for the academy up front and was paying a moderate hourly rate, which now if they were to just cut ties and say, never mind, I'm not going to, they would owe that money. It falls pretty close in line with the amount of money that we were already willing to spend to send somebody to the academy, except this cadet we know is very good and is 6 weeks away from graduation. So I don't necessarily know a full dollar figure of that. We have not actually, that's one of the individuals who's coming in and is doing a ride along as we speak. I don't know what that dollar figure would exactly look like. We'll try to figure that out to know exactly what it is before, to kind of let everybody know if that was actually in the cards or not, or especially like if they actually were to apply.
So there are no action items on this, either of these two things yet, But, you know, at the end of the day, what it comes down to is what we'd be asking for is no more, it shouldn't be any more than if we had sponsored from the beginning, and in some cases a bit less.
We're just mitigating the risk of, instead of from the beginning, sending them for a full 6-month hit, and hopefully they make it through. We're getting somebody who's essentially already passed all of their tests and only has to do the PT left.
As we've said, it's competition for good officers is fierce.
Absolutely steal it if we can.
And we have to be creative sometimes. It sounds as though, you know, Chief, and then you took Craig with you, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, it sounds as though they did a nice job presenting, and we got some soon-to-be officers interested. And if we can snag a couple good ones, you know, we're still short, and we know that we have a couple retirements on the not-too-distant horizon, and we don't wanna end up further behind the 8 ball on this year, so, at some point, hopefully, we'll be asking for a decision, cause that'll mean we're getting some positive stuff from one or more of these individuals. So, you know, if you need some thinking time, or you wanna ask some questions, or, you know, start thinking about that now, because, again, hopefully within the next month or so, we'll be asking you to make a call on something, and, you know, get some guys in here quicker than maybe we thought.
Craig, refresh my memory, you're looking now to hire how many?
3.
That
So
number is
that's-
very fluid still too.
Yeah, that's a fluid 3. A hard 2, we know for sure 3, than with anyone's after that. Adult James, who we're currently paying to go through, so Cadet James now at this point is doing excellent in the academy. He's already finished his first module. The academy was actually closed today, so he's downstairs as well right now, riding around with Lowry. His graduation date is June 9th. And with his experience level being at the sheriff's department and the way we're kind of structuring the FTO right now, we think we'd be able to get some of these guys actually hitting the road pretty quickly. Instead of 4 months of learning the absolute basics, we're having them learn those basics now as they're going and already getting spun up on all of our systems. So by the time they are actually out, we can handle calls with a senior officer watching.
We're getting through it.
Yeah.
Any questions on any of that at this point? Again, this is different than we've done things for some time, so I understand that there might be some comfort levels or some, just need to shake it off a little bit. If there are questions, like they're not bad ones, come to Reagan, come to myself, ask. We want to make sure everyone's talking
And
about it.
when it comes to these other conversations that we've now had with, oh, hey, that maybe these things would potentially be okay. So like it was all kind of came up pretty organically, like this was the kind of thing where immediately some cadets are asking, oh, hey, is this a possibility? So no, we've been describing it to them as council is very supportive of the process, and it's certainly not outrageous.
So the one candidate you're referring to, what are you looking for? Are you looking for our okay before you?
I don't think we can.
I don't wanna make, I certainly didn't wanna make any promises to anybody, and I still wouldn't be necessarily willing to make such a promise until we knew definitively. I don't know everything, I haven't actually seen the contract of what they have signed on.
I think at this point, it's at least worth asking, is there anyone around the table who is just like, no matter what, no, absolutely not, don't even bother bringing it? I mean, beyond that, we're not gonna ask for a firm yes, because until we have the details, it's not important, but, you know, assuming that it comes in similar to what we would have done if we had sponsored him from the beginning anyway, I mean, is there anyone who thinks that's just such a terrible idea, we shouldn't even bother trying?
I didn't.
Not asking for a vote, but just a general, okay. So it's at least worth doing more.
Yeah, it would be.
If, you know, if around the table, you were all just shaking your head and saying, what were you guys even
I'm
thinking?
just telling them right now, oh, hey, sorry, no, we can't do it. But overall, the way it seems like timing wise, it seems we're going to be potentially of, hey, here's a potential certified list. If we were to hire this number on the list, too, on the military vet, like, you know, end up falling, it would be, you know, this would be the dollar figure for them specifically.
Okay.
Resolution 2603, governing the disposition of police weapons upon retirement.
So that was sent out with your package, we talked about that last meeting, 2 meetings ago, I've lost track a little bit. Just trying to get a policy down as far as what it takes to, you know, this is resolution, not an ordinance. It's just having a policy, so in the future, when things happen, we can say, yeah, no, our policy says this is not it, there's no case by case figuring it out, it's either you got it or you don't. Section 3, I think it was a spot with the numbers, if that's a spot where you wanna play around, I think that's the place to do so, but, this was something we threw together. We can thought, we can discuss, we can vote if we're ready to, but, yeah.
I had no problem with it, Ezra, and anybody else?
And again, it's a resolution, if we realize, wait a second, we can always change.
Motion to accept? Motion. Teresa, you have a second, please?
Second.
Second, Bob. All those in favor say aye. Deny, same sign. Consent agenda, consider and take action to approve all items on the consent agenda as follows.
Much later than the last 1 or 2, but.
Yeah. Motion by Teresa, second,
I'll second.
by Rick.
Well, before you vote, you really should ask anybody who wanted anything pulled from that.
Would anybody like anything pulled of these items?
I think that's formality on this one, but.
Okay. Have a motion and a second, all approves? Denied, same sign. New business. Consider and take action to accept with regrets the retirement of Andrew Hess from the Department of Public Works, effective February 14th, 2026. Any discussion?
Of course, if you say no, we have to go back and drag it back.
Yeah, we'll drag it back. Mr. Learn,
Second.
second by Teresa. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Consider and take action to hire.
So this is, like I said, I wanna make very clear, is there anyone that's gonna have an issue with the hiring in general? I don't wanna throw a name out there, if we're gonna have a problem, I don't foresee any, but are we all okay with me saying a name? Okay, so I'm asking to hire, Anthony Silvetti.
To the best of my knowledge, Anthony is currently employed in Bloomsbury.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay.
He started his career here as a part-timer.
Yep.
He left to Bloomsburg because we had a full-time job available about 13 years ago.
Yep.
You know, we had about 200 applications. We ended up interviewing about 15 when all was said and done. We had a few no-shows in there. I think we had offered like 22, we ended up doing about 15. Jack and I both agreed that he was, definitely the best candidate, for a number of reasons.
He's very skilled.
Motion by Teresa, second.
Second.
Mr. Lewis, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Consider and take action to approve signature and submission of Home Investment Partnerships Program Funds Repayment Agreement, specifically selecting option.
I'm asking for
I think it
2.
was two. Option 2. Discussion on that. That's the multi-year. Motion by Teresa, second.
Yes.
Mr. Learn, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Do we have any added items? I don't believe so. Okay. Citizens correspondence, personal appeals for non-agenda items. Anybody that would like to address the council, please come forward and state your name and address, please.
I'm Gabby Melchior. I'm on Pine Street. I just have a few questions for you guys pertaining to the land swap and the data centers in Mifflinville and all that.
Mifflinville won't pertain to Berwick Borough.
What's that?
Mifflinville won't pertain to Berwick.
No, but you guys are doing the land swap, so if you do the land swap, that's in Berwick Borough, and you guys are gonna be doing the land swap. I just have a few questions pertaining to that, that's all. Who pays for the expansion? Is it Baja, the data center, the developer?
I'm not quite sure what you're talking about.
Yeah, the land swap that the guy gentleman came in and spoke to, he had his big board and.
That's a Baja expansion, so that would be a Baja question.
It's got nothing to do with the data center.
It's not us or our say if Baja so with that part, it's a Baja
Okay,
question.
noted. Alright, so probably none of these questions. So for that land swap, you said you were sending it to somebody to get questions or something? Sending it down to another, how is that gonna go about? Like, what is the,
We had one discussion.
yeah,
So
That's all it was.
the next step would be Gloria, who is the manager what's her exact title, at Manson, my head went there, at Baja, myself, and probably both solicitors, at least to some extent, having a conversation as far as putting something on paper, what an agreement might look like, and then it's up to both council and Baja if they want to agree to it or not.
Okay, cause I just have a bunch of questions for all of them, but, alright.
And I mean, honestly, Gabby, the answer is right now very up in the air, because until those conversations happen and we work out a lot of different details, and I mean, I understand, just I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit, I understand that, you know, your feelings are on the potential for how a maybe data center in Mifflinville would play into that, and at the end of the day, Baja could fit that into their current plan right now if they wanted to, and that has nothing to do with
But you guys
anyone
are
around
holding
us.
the land right now for their
But,
expansion.
I mean, they could fit it in currently, and at the end of the day, it's not just that, it's also the ability for, you know, Berwick, and there's gonna become a time when they could say, there's no more capacity and we can't allow any more apartments to be built in Berwick. I mean, it's gonna happen eventually. Would that happen anytime soon? I don't know, but it's a much bigger than just maybe a data center in Mifflin. I don't know that term should, yeah, again,
And the
not
land-
here.
And the land swap was a matter of like feet, like, what was it, 200 feet? Right, it was just giving them that, how much.
At the end of the day, if they wanted to expand, they could expand without that land swap.
Yeah.
It would be less efficient, and it would ultimately cost everyone in the Baja service area, including the residents of Berwick, more money for a less efficient fix. So, you know, allowing them to be more efficient, if it's gonna happen anyway, makes more sense for the people of Berwick.
Right.
Even if I mean, whether or not that means a data center comes in and there are multiple different feelings on if that's a good, bad, or indifferent thing.
Right.
Um,
Well, I'm just worried about everyone's rates going up on everything pertaining to this, because I pay sewer and it's gone up just a little bit.
Sure.
In a couple of years, but, yeah, alright, well, thank you. I will send the questions to the appropriate people. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Thanks for letting me speak this time too.
You're welcome. Tom? Anybody else wants to address us? No, you were good? Okay. So I'll make a motion to adjourn. Tom?
I'll second.
Ray? Second? All in favor?
No.
We're adjourned.
What? You don't wanna go?
No?
You better go make your notebooks.